Thousands of athletes going for the gold, and as the clear champion of the bathroom, Dollar Shave Club deserves a gold medal. Dollar Shave Club has everything you need to look, smell, and feel your best. Shampoo, body wash, toothpaste, and of course, the best razors you'll ever use. You get an amazing high-quality shave every morning from the DSC Executive Razor. Plus, the true gold standard of any morning routine is their Dr. Carver Shave Butter. It helps the razor gently glide across your skin. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything to you. That means no more trips to the store, wandering the aisles, hunting for razors, shampoo, and toothpaste, and playing cashier, scanning and bagging your stuff. Go for the gold. Join Dollar Shave Club today, and for just $5 with free shipping, you'll get the 6-blade executive razor plus trial sizes of shave butter, body cleanser, and one-wipe Charlies. Then keep the blades coming for a few bucks more a month. Get yours at dollarshaveclub.com/Golic. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Golic.
Hiring? Every business needs great people and a better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter revolutionized hiring. Their technology finds great candidates for you. It learns what you're looking for, identifies people with the right experience, and invites them to apply to your job. Right now, our listeners can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Wingo. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Wingo. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Gym Class Heroes kicking us off here. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. It is Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. I'm Adnan Virk in for Trey. As always, we're presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our phone guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line alongside, this is how you want to spend a lover's day.
Sure.
The couple of the Golics.
Yeah.
Father and son.
How about that? What a day. What a romantic day.
Now, Hope, our makeup artist, was already chastising us. She goes, it's Valentine's Day. There's no candy hearts. There's no flowers and such. So we're looking at Mike Jr. for that.
That is true. I kind of dropped the ball on that because the one thing we can all agree, whatever your feelings on Valentine's Day are, it's another in a long line of good excuses to eat sugar. And we have clearly missed the boat on that this morning. So a little disappointed. There's not even a lot of festiveness in here.
No, there isn't.
We didn't create a loving environment.
But we know tomorrow is the big run on chocolate.
That is true.
It's the big deals. You get the lower priced chocolates and goodies and things like that. But listen, Valentine's Day, I heard you say it this morning, Mike, and I agree. For a guy, I think you take it about as seriously as your partner does.
Great point. You look to the lead from her. If she's really into it, you go flowers and chocolates, poems, harps.
If somebody in the couple is more into it, then you have to be into it, right?
Yeah,
you just have to be.
That is when you rise to meet the level of the person that is at the highest level, because if you don't, you've created an unnecessary fight. Like people that want to say that Valentine's Day is overdone and a Hallmark holiday and all that stuff. Right. That's great. That's fine for you to hold that opinion until it matters to the other person, because then it's equally as much of a fight that you could have avoided over something that is very easy to just send a card, send flowers, send chocolate.
Yeah, it's definitely a Hallmark holiday. It feels programmed, but that's a great point that you have to do something. I don't know anybody who just doesn't do anything. You got to do flowers, chocolate, something, unless the other person clearly, unequivocally states, no, I hate Valentine's Day. You better not do anything because I'm not doing anything for you. All right, fair enough.
And then there's the side of it where does that person say it and do they mean it? And then where do you find out the truth then?
You got to go mining. You got to use the friends. That's what I've always said, is that's why it pays to be in well with her people.
Right.
Because you've got to go in there and do that homework. Because if you don't know and you're finding out today, I have a feeling things aren't going to go well with you.
How about that panic-stricken look you can see on a guy's face when he realizes he didn't do anything and needed to do something?
And I mean, and it's one you pay for a while. It's just, it can be subtly thrown back at you, or it can be a sledgehammer thrown back at you. And then is it celebrated in your house?
Yeah, my wife is not crazy into it, and I think that what happens is, and I don't want to say this like as a married couple, but enthusiasm wanes over the years. Not in a bad way, but listen, let's celebrate anniversaries. Birthdays are big. Kids' birthdays are big. Valentine's Day is like, all right, let's do something. We're going to go out for lunch. It's fine. Right. But it's not the festive occasion, I think.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing going on in my house. My wife and I are going on 31 years of marriage and celebrating a few Valentine's Day before that.
Right.
We do lunch all the time, and we also eat all the time? Chocolate.
Exactly.
So, this is kind of another day for us, another day in the life of the Golics. So she has never really been into it either. And for real, not really into it. So
not just saying that on the side. He legitimately is not really.
She hasn't been saying that for 31 years now, waiting for that day you finally come through.
At least I hope not, or I have just have so much built up against me at this point. It would be horrific.
You do that in enough other avenues. I think that this would be an area you're safe. Right. I understand that for most people, Valentine's Day is very publicly jumped the shark. It's more become International Singles Day, where you'll find out exactly who on your timeline is single.
Right.
I am waiting for that to happen with engagement rings before it becomes time for me to ever go down that road, because it's equally as artificial of a construct, and it's just more of an expensive one.
That's true. Much more expensive.
It's a great point. It's just to jump the shark, because you go from Valentine's. At some point, somebody must have thought Valentine's Day is a great idea.
Oh yeah.
Then it became passe to hate on Valentine's Day. Now it's International Singles Day. When will it go back? Will there ever be a shift? People, you know what? I think Valentine's Day is awesome. I think that there's a Hallmark holiday that I can appreciate. Will we ever go back, or does the pendulum just go?
No. It probably, everything circles back around. And you know what the highest of high today is? Those that get engaged today.
Correct.
There will be those that fall down on one knee and ask that I was going to say dreaded question. It shouldn't be a dreaded question. Didn't mean that.
Well, there you go. You found a way to make problems for yourself on a day where you said it was easy.
Didn't mean dreaded. Ask the question. You know that's going to happen today. It's going to be planned out at a Valentine's lunch or a Valentine's dinner or something. Right. There will be engagements going on today.
Here's my big thing, though. The guy that has an elaborate plan, he's going to engage, and then all of a sudden he proposes, sees a look in his prospective fiance's face, and all of a sudden knows, I've made a huge mistake. Yeah, she's not going to say yes.
It's not the realization you want to have, and that's why in general I'm not a big fan of the Valentine's Day proposal, a New Year's Eve proposal, any sort of public proposal, the stadium proposal.
Because you've ruined it forever now. Like, if you have a Valentine's Day proposal that goes awry, that day is permanently scarred.
Especially now, where everything lives forever on the internet, because you're not just doing that for you or just the people there. You are doing that for all of us on the internet.
Wow. You know what? Right out of the gate, I got to give it up for Brad.
He tweet the show, Golic and Wingo. Give us your Valentine's Day fails.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want your Valentine's Day fails. We'll give the phone number out as well, where you can leave a message of your fail. But Brad, right out of the gate, Valentine's Day tip for men to really win the day: buy a dozen roses, replace one of the real roses with a fake rose, and tell them that you'll love them until the day the last one dies. You're welcome, fellas. That from Brad. Brad, well done. Well done.
That's unbelievable.
Right out of the gate. I'm giving Brad a gift card. 1-800-Flowers.com gift card.
I got a gift card right away.
Brad, go ahead. You get a gift card.
606.
Wow. You get a gift card. You get a gift card. You get a gift card. Yes.
Take the under on the gift card.
Absolutely. Brad gets a gift card. That's a great idea.
That is a great idea.
Wow.
860-506-5505 if you'd like to leave a voicemail with your epic Valentine's Day
fail. We don't want to hear the love stories and the success stories. There's enough of those. That's great.
Right. We want misery. We want misery.
Misery on Valentine's Day.
Bring it early and often.
It's time for Off the Top.
Whether you like it or not, it's just beginning.
With Golic and Wingo.
Golic and Wingo is presented by Progressive Insurance. Our guest list for today: Larry Nance Sr. at 7:30, Keith Olbermann at 8:05, Tim Legler at 8:30, and Katie Nolan at 9:30. All phone guests. Join us at the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. If you miss any of those guests, you can listen to all 4 hours on demand on the ESPN app. Cavaliers beat the Thunder last night.
Boy.
Your guy scoring 120 points for a franchise record 4th straight game. LeBron James paced all scorers with 37 points, with the Cavs bench also potent, outscoring the Thunder reserves by 31, the largest bench scoring differential by a LeBron James team in his career. How about it?
Incredible. 51-20 outscored on the bench. You had the guys coming off the bench, the new guys: Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr. 41, as you mentioned, 41 between them. Jeff Green, another 10 off the bench. LeBron with 37 in this one. And we weren't sure who was it with. Russell Westbrook and Carmelo were going to play. They all played. Injuries, all of Russell played. Carmelo played. Paul George played. So, again, looking good in this. And now, do we know this is the rotation? Do we know this will be the starting lineup going forward? It was 3 of the 4 new ones coming off the bench. George Hill, the one starter of the new players coming in on this one. So, still working through that. But to away from the X's and O's, Mike, the enthusiasm that this team is showing, it's like the honeymoon phase. They're in it for a while. Now they were on the honeymoon phase. Now they go on break for a little bit, and they're still anxious to see one another after the break.
Yeah, it's poorly timed, really, going into the All-Star break because you've been thriving now. I remember the first time I played meaningful action at Notre Dame was because of an injury. Went into the first quarter, and you don't have time to think in those moments. You're just going out there and giving everything your max. You make mistakes at 100 miles an hour. That's where this Cavs team's been right now. There's not a lot of practice time. There's not a lot of anything else. How do they adjust through this All-Star break coming out on the other side where everyone, them and other teams included, have time to digest this new Cavs team is going to tell us a lot about what their prospects are going forward.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the Cavs in just a second.
Off the top.
Rockets made 10 3-pointers in the fourth quarter in the 126-108 win against the Timberwolves, matching the most in a fourth quarter in NBA history. Houston has 7 games at least 20 3-pointers made this season, 2 more than every other team in the NBA combined. This is the thing, Mike. We keep thinking Warriors, and of course, Houston's not going anywhere. Another prolific performance of that offense. Those guys are scorching.
I just love. I mean, this is where we are with this team. They are just loading up threes. If you ever see a guy take a step inside the 3-point line and take a shot like the longest distance you could take, he's probably going to get pulled out of the game. I think it's just been coached out of those guys to ever do that. Half game sitting behind the Warriors right now, and we keep saying this is the team that could possibly give Golden State some kind of trouble before they get to the finals. I guess you have to keep buying that. We know Oklahoma City has done well against the Warriors this year, but I really think it's more on Houston and what they can do, because when they bomb threes and hit threes, man, they may be the best team out there.
And it's interesting, this seems at this point to be the runaway MVP season for James Harden, finally. A guy who's been close, was the player's choice a couple of years ago. And you look over the last couple of seasons, we know triple-doubles were huge for Russ last year, but 30 and 10 games, 30-point, 10-assist games over the last 2 seasons, James Harden has actually outpaced even Russell Westbrook there. 37 games of such to 34 for Russell Westbrook. So this has been who he's been in that Mike D'Antoni offense.
Yeah, no question. But D'Antoni, all of a sudden things change for guys.
Off the top.
Trey Young, speaking of offense, season low 25% from the field. Number 23, Oklahoma's loss at 7th ranked Texas Tech, including going 0 for 9 from 3-point range. He's now missed his last 16 3-point attempts as the Sooners fell on the road for the 7th straight time. He's clearly a special player, but obviously also hit a road bump lately, Mike.
Yeah, he did, and contested shots as well. The Texas Tech contested 12 of his 16 shots and 82% of his shots in 2 meetings this season. He only made 22% of those contested shots. We saw that more in a few games this year. I know one when they played Alabama.
Right.
They were on him real hard, and that's kind of been the way to go against him. I did love the fact when LeBron was asked about if Trey Young should be coming out or not, or the decision to come out and be pro. It was great. If we at some point, I think we might have the sound on that. It was fantastic about his thought process there. But let's also look at, we talk a lot about Trey Young. Let's look at the other side. Mm-hmm. Texas Tech has won 7 straight games, leads the Big 12 by a game over Kansas. So don't sleep on them. As we get close to the end of the season here.
Jayhawks a different team at Fog Allen. They've actually been mortal at home. And Texas Tech, the questions around them is offensive efficiency. There's no questions about their defense. That's why they're a top 10 team, one of the big surprises of the year.
Well, and you saw that, especially length on the perimeter really was what was giving Trey Young a lot of trouble when you've got defenders that are 6'5" and 6'6" in your face. As a guy who's trying to be a shooter as the known focal point of that offense, Texas Tech, the dealings looked a little easier. That offense moved a little bit more freely. And so for Oklahoma, it's going to be for Trey Young, understanding he's a marked man. We've seen him reinvent his game in little spurts throughout the season, becoming more assist-oriented when his coach challenged him. How does he adjust down the stretch right now, knowing that despite what that first ranking might have said, this is a team that down the stretch has struggled right now?
Yeah, no question about it. We'll see what happens with Trey Young and company. By the way, the crossover tonight, college basketball and NBA analysts switching all over the place, so make sure you join us on ESPN and ESPN2.
You having fun with that?
I was going to say, this sucker is definitely...
go ahead.
Keep going
again. Go ahead.
Oh,
you're hitting
punch
it really
it,
hard. Punch it.
There it is. Hit it.
When in doubt, kick it.
Exactly.
So I look at it.
There's no losers here.
Nope.
Shaun White won the gold medal in the men's halfpipe, the 3rd time he has won Olympic gold in the event, formerly known as the Flying Tomato, now just Shaun White. 100th gold medal in the Winter Olympics for the United States. How about that? 2nd most all-time, behind only Norway.
Yeah, Norway has 121 Winter Olympic gold medals, United States 100, and then Germany sits there at 91. We've been killing it in the snowboarding gold so far this year. We swept the 4 snowboarding golds, setting the record for most snowboarding golds in a single Olympics. It's been pretty, and we said, so I mean that's been impressive. And how old is he? Is he?
This is his third straight Olympic gold, so there's still talk that he might be around for the next Winter Olympic Games
just
as well.
Amazing
to it
what's going on, and we still haven't had Michaela Schifrin yet. She got postponed yet again.
Real disappointment. I can't wait to watch the skiing, and this is the thing with the Winter Olympics. Now, some people love this. They go, no, there's always chaos. You cannot tame Mother Nature.
No.
For the skiers, it's been brutal now.
The downhill stuff and the slalom and stuff with the high winds, no. That's a bad mixture, so still looking forward to she'll start tonight in the giant slalom, but we're just killing the snowboard.
Yeah, that's a difficult prospect for her, too. We talk about you don't always get the volume of events in the Winter Olympic Games for certain athletes. And for Michaela, we talked to Michael Eaves on First and Last this morning, who said now she's going to have to compete in those 6 events over the course of 10 days. So a much more condensed schedule for her that makes accomplishing what she set out to do a lot more difficult. Again, you feel so bad because it's once every 4 years and something completely out of her control has changed the routine entirely.
Well, this is her schedule. Tonight, giant slalom. Thursday, the slalom. Friday, the Super G. That's the 16th. And then February 20th, downhill. 22nd combined, 23rd team event. So, yeah, it definitely got congested a bit.
Yeah, no question. That is off the top. The Cavs made the switch at the All-Star break, look like an entirely different team. Make the switch brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Adnan Virk in for Trey today. We're Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Our Cavs reporter, Dave McMenamin, after Cleveland wins last night.
There was a considerable tension let out of the balloon in that Cavs locker room. Just a joyous scene. We saw guys wishing each other well as they went into the All-Star break, exchanging phone numbers, telling each other, rest up, guys, stay safe, have fun. We can't wait to get back and do this again. Ty Lue, I spoke to him along with another reporter, and he came up to us, big smile on his face, and literally was miming as if he was lifting a weight off his chest and bringing it above his head and then just releasing his body to show that, man, so much has changed. You just go back 7 days. They were blowing a 20-point lead against the Orlando Magic, one of the worst teams in the league, and losing in blowout fashion. Now they're beating some of the best teams in the league on the road at that. And so really just a remarkable turn of events.
Well, it's interesting to hear Dave say that as if there's like a big balloon lifted, because I figured after that Sunday win over Boston, fellas, then they'd feel like a lot more relaxed. But I guess obviously the circumstances, playing the Thunder, Russell Westbrook, et cetera.
Right.
There's heightened expectations after that victory against Boston.
Oh, yeah. Well, and everybody's saying, it's just one game. Well, now they got a second game against certainly a quality opponent who thought they'd be questionable with a couple of the big-time players, but they did play. So you're definitely beating another quality opponent. You're figuring out the rotation. I don't know when they'll be solid in what they have, but to your point, Mike, and I think you're right, there's going to be downsides to this, and they just have to build along the way. And that's going to be the important part is when it starts to go bad, what lessons are you going to learn from that, of where you can lean, who you can rely on, what the rotation is going to be when times get tough, when you need that scoring. These are still all the things they have to go through.
They are, and right now, you just at least get to roll in with this good feeling to a break, because you know how important these markers are in the season that you build in as a player. As soon as you see the schedule, you see where areas like this pop up where you get that natural chance to exhale, and it makes a huge difference being able to roll into that time period feeling good about what you've accomplished up until that point, rather than going in there off a lackluster performance where now all of a sudden you're thinking about that over the break, you're letting that weigh into time instead of being able to enjoy this time off, maybe actually get some rest for the guys that have been beat up over the course of this year, and come back understanding that you've still got to build a lot into who you are.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. At least there was questions previously about Cleveland and the bench production. And now I think that's the big key, that all of a sudden you go, you've got this incredible player in LeBron James, still at the peak of his powers, but now he's got this second unit, and these guys have athleticism, they're young, they're hungry. You look at these numbers. Hood off the bench, 14 points. Clarkson off the bench, 14 points. Nance off the bench, 13 points. Jeff Green off the bench, 10 points. So all of a sudden, you don't feel like it's LeBron and running mate. It's LeBron and a collection of players. And that's always been the issue, it feels like, when you talk about LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, and will the starting lineup switch? Jetty O's been getting that time in, but just under 15 minutes. He gets under 15 minutes in, and then replaced. And you see all the guys that you mentioned, from Hood to Clarkson and Nance to Green, 24, 23, 24, 26 minutes. So I still wonder what that rotation is going to be down the road, but I do think it is kind of interesting as you still have that newness to it all, and now they're all like going on break and saying, "Hey, see you soon. Hey, can't wait to see you again. Have a safe break. Talk to you." I think it's hilarious.
Guys getting each other's cell phone numbers now for the first time.
I love
it's the strong dap locker room. It's when you're walking away and dapping everyone up and giving hugs on the way out. Everything is good, but coming back, it's a different set of problems. I mentioned it before, but being able to attack everything with effort and energy right now is great.
Right.
And when you're getting ready to roll into the All-Star break, you may get teams. Oklahoma City quite literally limped into that game last night with a couple of their guys. Sometimes you get a bit of that foot in the parking lot syndrome where you're already looking towards the break. And so you're not going to be able to just blitz everyone with this kind of effort. We've heard LeBron in every interview he's done since this trade deadline hoarse, because he said, I have to call out sets. I've got to call out these different things because guys aren't up to speed on all of this yet. Do guys having to digest more of that post-All-Star break as they get ready for the sets that they're going to hone in on for the playoffs? Does that slow guys down a little bit? Is there any of that paralysis through analysis? When Kevin Love finally comes back, how much does that change the way that they deal with all these things? It's figuring out how you deal with those little bits of adversity so you can bank them for the moments where you finally need them, because LeBron's always had, in the couple of championship teams he's been a part of, a guy like Dwayne Wade who in crunch time he can count on when he was in Miami for big moments. Kyrie Irving for the last few years, where he had an off-speed pitch for a guy that likes to make the right basketball play in key moments. Who is going to surface as that guy over the course of the season, or will anyone enough for LeBron to be able to trust them when they need to?
Yeah, and I just think J.R. Smith is such a wild card in this, right? Because if you can get...
Shot well again. But he's been playing horrible throughout the year, but did shoot well again.
Yeah, he's the guy that I want to give up on and say, no, I don't know how much more he has left in the tank. He was great at one point. But then you're right, 18 points, 6 of 10. Like, if he's that guy that can just show up and give me 15 to 20,
Huge.
not all the time, but more often than not.
Going to be very, very nice.
Yeah,
Real
so
nice.
We'll see what happens in regards to Cleveland. All right, keep sending us your Valentine's Day fails.
Okay, let me stop there through it, and I'll read one. Steve sends in, the wife asked me what our Valentine plans were. I told her it's leg day. I can't skip leg day.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, how about that?
Hey,
what
listen.
a selfish...
You think? Is that selfish or is that dedication to the process?
Listen, depends. Again, if she's into the legs, if that was a major selling point for you got to go in there. Legs feed the wolf. That's how the game goes. You got to go in there and make sure you keep giving her what she wants.
If he used that exact expression, then I think it's acceptable. Only if when she asks, what are we doing? He goes, hey, legs feed the wolf. And he goes, all right, well.
Yeah, there you go.
It's fine.
Say no more.
Valentine's Day fails. Keep sending them to us. Tweet us, Golic and Wingo. Up next, a redemption story that was 4 years in the making.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030. Mike Golic here. ADT, the #1 security company, can now help keep you safe at home and when you're on the go. Get started with the ADT Starter Kit professionally installed for only $49. Plus, you'll get ADT Go, the new family mobile safety app and service with 24/7 emergency response for free with any ADT security system. Go to ADT.com/podcast to learn more today.
Requires 36-month monitoring contract, QSP and Easy Pay. Activation and early termination fees may apply. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com. Additional charge for ADT Go premium services after March 31st, 2018.
Mike and I have been locked into the Winter Olympics. It's been so much fun to watch, and props last night to Shaun White for some history. As I mentioned, that gold medal, not only the 100th Winter Olympic gold all time for the United States, but for Shaun White in particular. And we touched on this yesterday, Mike, in terms of the historical incredibleness of this all. White is the first American male to win gold at 3 separate Winter Olympics. Speed skater Bonnie Blair won gold in the 88, 92, and 94 games. But Shaun White, incredible longevity. nailing it once again.
Yeah, I think his score a little over 97 in the final round to get the gold, and it's snowboarding right now. U.S. has swept the 4 snowboarding gold so far at these Winter Olympics, and he does it 3 Olympics in a row. I remember watching Bonnie Blair in the 500, in the sprint, loving that. So I was watching speed skating yesterday, the 1500 and the 1000, some cross country skiing, but certainly a different look to Shaun White from the flying tomato, the long hair to the shorter hair, the older as opposed to that youngster when he first started out.
Yeah, continued dominance by the U.S. in this field. We know it really got the most notoriety off of Chloe Kim and what she was able to accomplish in the half pipe first, being the youngest to medal at just 17 years old, a few months shy of that 18th birthday, and has been a lightning rod on that scene. Shaun White, certainly the more established name.
And he did not win in 2014 in Sochi. He finished 4th there. So last night he reclaims the gold medal, and here's what White had to say afterwards. Or was it?
3-time Olympic gold medalist, man. This, honestly, I'm sure you can tell by my reactions at the bottom of the pipe, but this meant the world to me and my family and my team. And, here doing it for USA again, not only to be an Olympian again, but to be a gold medalist again is just unreal. And I'm proud of myself. I don't say that often, it's like I try to bury it down in there so I can stay motivated and hungry for the next competition, because that's just how I do things. But I'm really taking this moment to be proud and thankful, and it feels great.
And for Shaun White, it has not been a journey of all ups. There have been some downs. And in August of 2016, Lena Zawide had actually filed a civil suit against him, asking her, saying that he'd failed to pay for work that she had done, and 3 months later amended it to include the fact that White had sexually harassed her. Now, White immediately denied the allegations, though he did admit sending her text messages, which she included as exhibits in the lawsuit. Later on, they reached an undisclosed settlement in 2017, but he was asked about it last night, and they, quickly acknowledged and moved on from there.
Well, exactly. So we absolutely wanted to put that out there. If you want to read the story, it is out there on what she accused him of, as far as from video text to other things. As well. As we mentioned, it was settled, in 2017.
Last year.
But it was brought up to him, so we wanted to bring it up. Certainly, you'll be able to see it. There are descriptions of it everywhere for those that want to check it out.
I watched it happen in real time on my timeline last night, as most of us digest the Winter Olympics through that medium. We know tape delay, all these different things make the normal watching experience a little different. Mm-hmm. But to see that response in real time, where we go from this clutch performance, the elation of what's happened, to a reminder that this is the time period we live in now, where if there is this in your past, and really in the immediate past, and this is sort of the weird ground we fall in with Winter Olympic and Olympic athletes in general, we don't see these guys much outside of the 4 years, these men and women. And so when it comes up, a situation like this that maybe, to the detriment of all involved, was undercovered because of the fact that it's not an athlete that has a ton of notoriety on their biggest stage all the time. Now that he hits this moment, it's absolutely going to come up, and it's going to be a part of the conversation. And it was just weird to see that dichotomy at play all at once last night. It truthfully made me uncomfortable with how to feel in all this. You sit there and you see the accomplishment and understand what it means for U.S. Olympics, but you also see the way it was dismissed in the press conference by him and by the U.S. snowboarding PR person, and you just can't help but feel a bit uncomfortable with everything.
Yeah, like you said, it's a disservice to not tell the full story of it. You acknowledge the greatness of his achievement, but also personal issues that clearly he admitted to some of it, and some of it perhaps occurred or did not occur. But in terms of other Winter Olympics yesterday, Mike, you touched on the speed skating. Here's something. We touched with the relay the other day.
Right.
I love this. I'd forgotten this. When they literally push the next person forward.
The short track relay, the women did the 3,000 meter and the guys the 5,000 meters. It's a short track where on the outside they're racing, and on the inside they're going around, keeping even with their teammates to kind of shoot into the outer part of the ice and get pushed as they.
There's no batons.
No baton. So that's how they exchange, by pushing one another. It looks confusing. It's choreographed chaos, but it is so much fun to watch.
Oh.
And they're doing like 40 some laps of this thing because it's on the short track, and they're just all kind of keeping their distance. And then the last 3 laps,
incredible.
That's when everybody goes,
incredible.
Seeing people sliding into the walls and stuff as they're trying to pass
get at least
one
wipeout. Yesterday in the women's, there's a one wipeout late, and also it's like a video game. It's like when you press the turbo button. That's the last
everybody takes off.
They're just going to hyperspeed. You go, oh my god!
Just that guy that holds down turbo the entire time is just going. He's got Russell Westbrook going.
I had no idea they had anything left in the tank here. It's incredible.
Then I'm watching the 1500 meter. I mean, just how it has to. These events and how they have to gas you. Me and Chris are watching the cross country skiing. These guys are running uphill. The men and women running uphill. It's like, oh my god! I mean, what it has to take out of you. But we asked this after you left yesterday, Mike. We're trying to figure out which, because part of what you mentioned about Shaun White in saying it's every 4 years and now the spotlight's on. Well, let's turn that to the good of this. Who of these athletes is going to cash in? Who's going to be that star coming back home that's going to hit the market? Is it going to be Chloe Kim? Is it going to be Red?
Red
Chloe, everybody kind of knew about Chloe, even though she was 17, knew how great she could be. Red came out of nowhere. Red's family's, shooting beers, enjoying the win and stuff. So, or is it somebody else? I'm trying to think, do we have that person yet of who that's going to kind of hit it in the marketing world?
So, for me, I see Red as one of those guys that's going to get a couple of GMA appearances out of this, maybe go on Ellen or something, get a nice gift package for him and the family, maybe a Natty Light deal, something like that. He's going to join you guys Friday at 9:05.
Well, there you go. That's the start of it all. He's
awesome.
on with us Friday.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all fine and good. Chloe Kim's got the staying power. Because, again, it's a difference of being built for this. This was thrust upon. Some people are born great. Some people achieve greatness. Some have it thrust upon them. It was thrust upon Red. Chloe was ready for this. They said she qualified but was too young.
13 years old.
The last time around at 13.
Too young.
So she's known this is in the cards, and all she needed was the receipts to back it up. Hey, I know I've got this. I've got the personality to boot, and now I've got the medals in my pocket to go back home and make sure I get everything that I have coming my way off this.
Important point brought up by producer Dan Stanzik. You said a Natty Light deal?
Yeah.
At 17, though, couldn't that be?
Yeah, for the family. For the family.
It's a family deal?
Trickle-down deal.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. The parents have it right now, and where they choose to have it delivered is no one else's business.
That's a family endorsement deal. All right, more Winter Olympics talk coming up a little bit later on. We'll turn our attention, though, to real important matters. Pitch Perfect 2, Pitch Perfect 3, and also the full recap of the dog show last night.
I'm a robot vacuum cleaner, so yeah, I got one gig. I suck up dirt, so pardon my inferiority complex about Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could they save their customers money on car insurance, but they got fast and friendly claim service too, and an award-winning mobile app. Plus access to licensed agents 24/7. Who am I kidding? I can't even do corners. Uh-oh, choking hazard.
Popcorn kernels.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Melted chocolate in the box.
I mean, we're going to hear some epic fails today. There's no question about that. There's people who have stories that are
powerful. At least that was the thought there. At least he got chocolate. I mean, there's something to that, isn't there?
I was about to say, and that is what it comes down to, because some people will argue that it's pretty easy just to go and, 1-800-Flowers.com, which is a great resource to have. It's easy to get some chocolates, but if you can actually be creative a little bit, like the guy planting flowers and hoping to bloom. I mean, there's some element of effort there.
The one thing, he didn't plant them. He said the flowers are too expensive in the store, so he just picked them. But he told us. But if he sold the story to her, here, let me ask you this. Isn't Valentine's Day really what your grade is? Nobody's getting 100%, right? Nobody. But what grade do you get? How well did you do, right? Of the person in your couple, whatever the couple is, whoever that person is that enjoys Valentine's Day, you need to appease that person. And then it's a grading scale. How well did you appease that person? How well did you do on that day?
Nah, I signed up to take that class pass fail. It's pretty cut and dry. You either did or you didn't.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. No one's going to have that. Was about an 85% Valentine's Day. I'm with Mike Jr.
Yeah, no,
if he did,
really?
He didn't. Yeah,
85% may apply again to that whole idea of the engagement ring, because there are levels to that. Levels that usually are in the thousands of dollars range, but there are levels nonetheless. Can I share an epic fail I had with you guys last night?
Yeah, but after that we're going to do Pitch Perfect 2, Pitch Perfect 3.
Yeah, no, it's really quick, but to that point, it just reminded me of the melted chocolates and the good intentions.
Yeah,
I came home last night with a Chipotle bowl for dinner. Hadn't gone to the grocery store for most of the week. That bowl took a tumble onto the floor.
Right.
I stopped long enough. The contents were everywhere. It was gone on the hardwood floor. Stopped long enough to send you guys a picture.
Yes, you did.
Put something out on social media, and then proceeded to grab a spatula from my drawer, put it all back in the bowl, and still eat it.
You're the only one of our family that seems that acted surprised. Nobody else. Not Jake, not Jenny, not me, not Sydney, not your mother seemed a bit at surprise. We're like, just put it back in the bowl and eat it. What's the big deal? I don't think there's any big deal at all.
There was a little extra kick somehow, too.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, all's well that ends well. There was also, I believe, a Golic family dispute about Pitch Perfect 2 versus Pitch Perfect 3.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, God.
We went and saw that, me, Mike, and my wife, Mike's mother, and Chris and I both like Pitch Perfect 2 better than Pitch Perfect 3. And Mike, for some reason, doesn't. Put it up on a poll this morning, didn't you? How's that working for you?
Well, yeah, listen, let's not act like the scientific nature of the Twitter poll is somehow justifying your opinion. Then why you put one up?
This. You're putting up a poll to get the pulse of the people out there, and they told you you're wrong.
You put up a poll that people agree with you. If they don't, you discount
it. Exactly. That's how the results go. But again, after your bunk opinion on The Shape of Water, I feel like we can discount pretty much all of your movie opinions.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking
exactly.
about.
I've got to attack your credibility at every turn.
The fisherman can do another dance. Can't wait to hear his acceptance speech. The stupidest movie of all time.
We'll update the poll numbers on Pittsburgh 2, Pittsburgh 3 a little bit later on. That was Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Mike, you were locked into the dog show last night.
Yeah.
Now, Flynn the Bichon Frise.
Yeah.
Winning Best in Show, but topping other contenders like Slick the Border Collie and a pug named Biggie.
Oh.
The choice was a surprise to most of the crowd at Madison Square Garden, with many fans falling silent when the 5-year-old white powder pup was picked.
So the wife and I were watching this. We watched it. The everything. We're flipping back and forth. We had the Cavs game. We had the Olympics. And we had the Westminster. I mean, it was a fantastic evening.
Right.
But of course, we were locked in on the 7 group winners for the dogs of who was going to be best in show. Saw the whole thing again, and yeah, it was a little surprising. There was a little bit of shock that Flynn won it. Now, listen, I love all dogs. I absolutely do, but I was a little surprised at this. I was pulling. I know you were as well, Mike, for Biggie the Pug. Biggie the Pug was a crowd favorite and was cute as hell, by the way, as they all are. Ty the Giant Schnauzer came in second. Bean the Sussex Spaniel was very impressive, was begging for his treat up on his hind legs, really trying to put on a show.
Right.
Looking like begging to the judge to kind of vote for me.
Right.
It was very, very cute in seeing that. But it was a little surprising that the Bichon Frise. Now, I will say, growing up, the people behind me, one of my best friends, Dave Neckick, his family, they had Bichon Frises. That's where I first, got to when I was younger. And I, like I said, love dogs. Some of them, they're cute dogs. But I was a little surprised at this one and a little bummed out for Biggie the Pug.
I was bummed out for Biggie the Pug.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're pug people. We're going to pull for the pug. This is surprising. No one. I have to express a certain level of disgust for this crowd. To fall silent for the big moment for Flynn the Bichon Frise is an absolute travesty. You should all be ashamed of yourselves. It is absolutely horrific what you put that dog through. That dog doesn't know what's going on. That dog knows it came there to hang out with other dogs and maybe see a few new humans, maybe get some pets, experience some smells that it hadn't experienced before. The gifts, there's no prize money. It gets a bowl, lucrative breeding fees, and a lifetime of memories, which, congrats on the sex, but besides that, what else is getting the rewarded for the dog other than just a little bit of praise? And for the crowd to withhold that, even because of their shock in that moment, is despicable.
So, okay, you're saying shock, but then it should transform to awe.
Support, quite literal awe. It's a cute, wonderful dog.
It's not like there was some cheering. It's not like they booed. I mean, at no time at all did Flynn feel disrespected, I don't think.
You don't know that.
Oh, I don't. Flynn was getting enough treats at that point. Listen, Flynn was getting the treats. Flynn was happy.
How about the total numbers? 2,882 entries in 202 breeds and varieties. Among those who didn't make the cut, face-licking Spicy Nacho, the miniature bull terrier who drew laughs.
Yeah.
Just not the judges.
Just not the judges. And Mike mentioned Flynn. Flynn is going to go on some morning shows, a steak lunch at Sardi's, a trip to the top of the Empire State Building, and invited for a walk-on part on the Broadway hit Kinky Boots. So there's something that Flynn gets to do. No prize money at all. But what's the dog going to do with prize money? But you know what the owners are going to make and are going to make on the breeding money. That's what they're going to make money on.
Exactly.
Right.
Why are the owners getting all the benefits of this? I don't think
you don't
Flynn
think that dog gets. You don't think Flynn gets treated great?
You can't eat an EGOT, Dad. You can't eat it.
Flynn is getting treated just fine. We're happy for Flynn. I don't think Flynn got disrespected. I was a little surprised at the silence at the beginning. Right. I think people were truly
shocked,
stunned,
right?
That Biggie didn't win this thing, the pug.
Yeah, but congratulations! Obviously, a wonderful event. Coming up next, we're switching gears. Mike Golic Jr. might want to sit on our next topic. His contributions will probably be vacated. Anyways.
Oh,
ouch! Plus, a former slam dunk champion in the next hour. Dan Stanzik taking the honors for that one. Adnan Virk in for Trey. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio.
Thousands of athletes going for the gold, and as the clear champion of the bathroom, Dollar Shave Club deserves a gold medal. Dollar Shave Club has everything you need to look, smell, and feel your best. Shampoo, body wash, toothpaste, and of course, the best razors you'll ever use. You get an amazing high-quality shave every morning from the DSC Executive Razor. Plus, the true gold standard of any morning routine is their Dr. Carver Shave Butter. It helps the razor gently glide across your skin. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything to you. That means no more trips to the store, wandering the aisles, hunting for razor, shampoo, and toothpaste, and playing cashier, scanning and bagging your stuff. Go for the gold. Join Dollar Shave Club today, and for just $5 with free shipping, you'll get the 6-blade Executive Razor plus trial sizes of shave butter, body cleanser, and One Wipe Charlie's. Then keep the blades coming for a few bucks more a month. Get yours at dollarshaveclub.com/Golic. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Golic.
Hiring? Every business needs great people and a better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter revolutionized hiring. Their technology finds great candidates for you. It learns what you're looking for, identifies people with the right experience, and invites them to apply to your job. Right now, our listeners can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Wingo. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Wingo. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Adnan Virk in for Trey today. We are Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2 with Senior and Junior for the next hour. Presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our phone guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Great guest list today. Larry Nance coming up. The 3-time All-Star, 1984 Slam Dunk Champion coming up 30 minutes from now. Keith Olbermann an hour from now. Tim Legler at 8:30. And Katie Nolan at 9:30 as well. So we're mixing it up all over the place today. We're talking Winter Olympics. We're also talking about the dog show.
Yeah.
It is, of course, Valentine's Day. So send us your most epic fails. Tweet the show at Golic and Wingo.
As far as the dog show was concerned, we just talked about that. Congrats to Flynn, the Bichon Frise, who won Best in Show last night. Mm-hmm. But you mentioned the dog that didn't make the final.
Spicy Nacho.
Spicy Nacho. Our own Buster only chimed in on that one.
Yeah, Buster's all over it.
I love this out of Buster.
Yeah.
But he said, let's be honest. No Westminster Kennel Show judge is voting for a dog named Spicy Nacho. Maybe the Cleveland Kennel Club. That's an unfair shot.
Right. Wow.
But not Westminster. I put the L on the owner. The dog is absolved of any responsibility in this defeat. This is on the owner because of the name. And think about that.
I treat that way with all these cases. I'm not going to put any of the blame on the dogs in these situations.
No blame on the doggies. Every dog's a winner.
Yeah, they're very good dogs. They're all very good boys and girls out there. I don't see any reason to lay blame at their feet regardless, but this is interesting because this is one of those places, you talk about this with your movie preferences all the time, where it's not quite going to meet the highbrow expectations of an Oscar-nominated film per se. Mm-hmm. And with the dog show, the expectations for these dogs aren't necessarily what we're used to. We like the begging, we like the jumping, we like the hugging and the affection. Those things don't necessarily play well with the judges all the time here.
No, that's very true. Yeah. They want to see the prim and proper of it sometimes. And you know what? I like a dog that's not really prim and proper.
So you think it's a little bit too...
We have 3 of them.
I was going to say, you don't want to have any elitism, right? It's supposed to be it's an everyman. But I get the fact there's a certain type of pageantry here.
Yeah, I get it. I understand that.
A little bit of history here as well. So you got to mix things up a little bit. All right. Like I said, we'll mix in those Valentine's Day stories and dog comments as well. But here's what's trending. Tiger Woods paired with Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas at the Riviera. Now, Tiger has yet to commit to his adopted hometown tournament. That would be the Honda Classic, waiting to see how he fares in the opening rounds of the Genesis Open at Rivera Country Club. I think it would be a great sign if I do play. I think it would be a smart sign if I didn't play. How about that? Does that dance pretty good? Tiger, he's 42, making his third tournament start since returning from spinal fusion surgery last year. 2 weeks after a tie for 23rd at the Farmers Insurance Open, he tees off Thursday at 10:22 a.m. Tongue firmly planted in cheek with that answer.
What an answer that is. I mean, the Tiger comeback yet again for how many ever times this is him coming back. And what's the goal again? Is the goal again to make the cut? Do we? When do we stop saying make the cut? When he makes a few cuts in a row, I guess. So I still think, to me, Mike, that's the goal for him, is to be able to get 4 days in and not just 2 days in, and then go from there.
The goal is still to finish the round you started. One or two rounds for me, especially one that was far less serious, where you don't see him doubled over or wincing in pain, is not enough yet for me. I wonder personally what that threshold looks like for me, but for him too, the mental anguish in this. We talk about Markelle Fultz and what he's dealing with. Mm-hmm. Tiger's been dealing with this for a long time. The swing changes, the injuries that have all mounted to a point where confidence is just what you want to see again from a guy that was once the most dominant golfer we'd ever seen.
You're bang on, Mike Jr., because that's what it ends up becoming. Is you go, all right, physical talent, where's the back at? If you're playing, then I'm just going to assume you're good enough, right? I don't want to hear 60%, 80%. I'm not besmirching him, but I just assume if you're physically able, you can do it. Now it's mentally, how can you handle it? And of course, the big thing, as you guys know, with golf, it's always how do you bounce back round to round. It's always the wear and tear. Okay, first round came in hot, second round's fine, third round now is the back aching up a little bit. But obviously the mental struggle is a big part of it. But that's an interesting answer.
It really
great
is
shot if I play, probably smart if I don't.
Yeah, and all eyes, I'm sure, will be on the driver, since his driver was all over the place in the last tournament he was in. So to see if he's got that squared away a little bit.
Love this story with spring training now. Pitchers and catchers reporting. Going to have Keith Olbermann on later on, but an hour from now, talk baseball. But Angels manager Mike Scioscia says the pitching comes first for Shohei Ohtani. He's part of a 6-man starting rotation now for the Angels. His exposure as a designated hitter will be based in part of the workload he's prepared to handle. The Angels regard him as a pitcher first. They'll work off that assumption in assessing his offensive role. Obviously, he was a major signing coming over from Japan. He wants to hit and he wants to pitch. And Scioscia said he's going to get the most looks as a pitcher. If he can pitch to his capabilities, that will always influence your team more than what he would do hitting. But that's not to say he won't have a chance to be a difference maker on the offensive end, too. I hope he's a huge success, because I wish more guys did this. I was like a guy who can actually hit.
You grew up doing this, right?
You pitch and you can hit.
Weren't some of your best players growing when you were a young player? Your best players were your pitchers.
Right.
And then they were your best hitters as well. And then obviously along the ride up the ladder there, that separates.
So I get the fact you throw 7 scoreless the next day, obviously you need a break. But if he wants to hit and DH the next day, Mike Jr., I'm all for it. If he's a good hitter, let's go.
Exactly. But you can understand the organization, again, protecting the resource for right now and saying, we're not going to dump this all at once. We understand this is part of a bigger plan for us to make sure that this is an asset for us for a good long time, making sure we don't overload right in the front of this.
Yeah, so it's all going to be pitching. He's got to perform pitching. And you know what? To me, if it's going well, you got to throw him a bone every now and then and see if it leads to more and more and more, because he's used to doing that. But we'll see what he does pitching first in the 6-man rotation. But I personally am excited to see if he would be pitching and he would be hitting as well.
You're right. It's going to be tricky, though. Like, imagine he gets shelled and they go, okay, now you can't hit for a few days. He'll be like, no, I need to hit again, because I was going to say,
I
only pitched 3 innings. I stunk, so let me hit and make up for it.
Well, that would be the other side. Yeah, if he failed miserably pitching, well, okay, now go hit.
Exactly.
We got to do something for this money we're paying you, huh?
Exactly.
Well, actually, it's not a ton of money right now. He actually could have made more if he had waited another 2 years before he'd come over.
That's a good point. And also, new Colts coach Frank Reich embraces the role as backup. Spent the majority of his 14-year NFL career playing as a backup quarterback. He was the backup option as the Indianapolis Colts head coach after Josh McDaniels reneged on his agreement at the last minute. The backup role has suited me well in my career, Reich said, a room full of laughs during his introductory press conference at Lucas Oil Stadium. A little bit of self-deprecation always endears yourself to the locals.
It does, but let's be honest, he wasn't even the backup to this job. I mean, he was pretty down deep in the lineup. As far as who they were looking at initially.
To your point, Mike, Chris
job.
Ballard, the GM, had Reich on his initial list of nearly 10 candidates back in December, but did not make the GM's top 5 list.
Right. So he was down the list a little bit, but came in here to save the day after Josh McDaniels, backs out of this. So that, as we talked about, they get the winning offensive coordinator from the NFL this year, not the losing offensive coordinator in the Super Bowl. So listen, it's a role he's relished his entire career from a backup. It's not like you're not going to hurt the feelings of a guy like Frank Reich.
No,
you're just not going to. He's lived a life of having to come in at certain times when the better players aren't performing or are hurt. So, this isn't going to get to him at all.
You just wonder what the leash looks like for this guy, because the one thing you also learn in that backup role as a player or as a reserve player is you are not afforded the same number of opportunities or the chances to screw them up that someone who comes in with a bit more fanfare, that someone like Josh McDaniels would probably have been afforded based on your initial thoughts on them. So what does that look like, especially for a team with an uncertain future at quarterback?
That's a great point, because it goes down to players as well, doesn't it? I mean, this goes down to players as well. When you're that first or second choice, whether it's a coach or a player, you get a little bit of leeway. But when you're not, man, you all of a sudden your mistakes, you don't get to work through them as much, from a player standpoint or a lower tiered coach from some standpoint. We'll see, because he needs a lot of help in that team around him. A lot's going to be thrown on him as a head coach, but there's not a whole lot to work with right now.
Uphill climb right now. No, come on, Cliff. It was 1 second. No. If it's 1 second, it's okay.
They're sharks. They're jackals.
It's a very quick recovery.
They're very quick.
Very quick recovery. Uphill climb right now for Frank Reich, but we'll see what happens with the Colts. Golic and Wingo is presented by Dollar Shave Club, brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Upgrade to shaving with a fresh blade whenever you want for a fraction of the price. Join DollarShaveClub.com today. Adnan Virk in for Trey. We are Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Mike Jr. not sitting this segment out, but this could be a painful one. NCAA denied Notre Dame's appeal of a decision to vacate 21 football victories because of academic misconduct, including all 12 wins from the school's 2012 national championship game run. For those who are unaware, of course, that's when Mike Jr. was on the team, offensive lineman. Notre Dame's president, the Reverend John Jenkins, criticized the decision in a letter to alumni, saying the penalty was unprecedented considering who was involved in the misconduct and that the school was being punished for rigorously enforcing its honor code. Called the ruling unfair. Notre Dame agreed to accept certain NCAA findings, acknowledged cheating involving several football players and a student athletic trainer, but appealed only the penalty that vacated the victories. So the NCAA stripping the Irish 21 wins, fined the school $5,000 and placed the school on 1 year's probation. That was in November of 2016. Right. And just, of course, again, Mike Jr. knows this well. National runner-up in 2012, lost to Bama in the title game, finished 12-1, went 9-4 in 2013. Mike Jr., your floor is yours first.
It's gotten beyond the point because I did the initial rant when this came out. This is something I'd almost forgotten about through the course of the appeals process.
I had forgotten about it, quite honestly.
Absolutely. And we had the conversation the first time around where you look at it and you say, well, what's the value really of stripping away wins that we all know are there? I had someone tweet me this morning and say in the internet age where we can all go back and see those games, it's impossible to erase them.
Agreed.
But for a place like Notre Dame, where having those on the ledger matters, we're having it relative to your all-time position. We know that win percentage, they constantly waffle with Michigan 4-1-2 all-time. This knocks them down considerably.
To number 6.
That all really becomes secondary at this point because, again, you're not really going to rewrite history, but what you've done is you've now slighted someone who in this was really an ally for you, right? The way that Notre Dame operates, because you know this as well as I do, when they talk about that honor code is different. The honor code expects more out of you than what the NCAA is going to expect out of you as a student athlete. The barriers and the markers that you have to meet at Notre Dame are different. And so they're saying we held ourselves accountable and that wasn't good enough for you. Another instance, and we've seen plenty of them. I know Jay Billis had this tweet. The NCAA totally oversteps its bounds again. The Penn State overreach means nobody will investigate themselves again. This was a student issue to which Notre Dame applied its honor code. Now nobody will apply that honor code again. When you've got a school like Notre Dame that can be the beacon of this for you and say, we prop this up all the time. The NCAA loves the student athlete mantra and Notre Dame actually backs up what you're looking for in that. And now you've lost them. Good luck. For a sea full of people, a tide full of people already calling for what do we need the NCAA for anyway? John Jenkins and company got to be looking at them and going, yep, exactly. What do we need you for?
Well, and for those who may not remember what went on, this was a couple of football players who were cheating and who were doing the cheating with a part-time assistant trainer. And basically what the NCAA said was that part-time assistant trainer was a representative of the institution. And basically what John Jenkins is saying, there's no precedent in previous NCAA cases for the decision to add a discretionary penalty of vacation of team records in a case of student-to-student cheating involving a part-time student worker who has no role in academic advising. And let me tell you, one guy that a lot of you may not know that we have gotten to know is Father John Jenkins, the president of Notre Dame. He's more of a quiet man, and he got riled. You riled that, and the letter he sent out in rebuttal to this, explaining a lot of these things much better than I would ever have a chance of explaining. You can get closer to him than certainly I can of explaining what's going on here. But to your point, I heard you before, and what Jay's point is as well. Notre Dame, I know a lot of people hate Notre Dame and say you're elitist and blah, blah, blah. Fine. But Notre Dame has higher standards to get in for student athletes than the NCAA does. That's a fact. It just is. So however you want to look at that. And what Notre Dame holds its student athletes to is at a higher standard than other schools and what the NCAA would deem these standards. And Notre Dame, they disciplined when these student athletes were cheating. And so to the point that everybody is making is now the NCAA comes over the top and vacates all these wins. That is what you're doing here. You're making schools now say, well, why the hell are we going to have an honor code? We're going to take care of our own here. We're going to discipline these people in honor code, but then you're going to come over the top and smoke us like this when you haven't done it before? What the hell are we going to, why are we going to do this anymore?
If I'm a kid and you and my mom were always the same, you wanted us to keep you involved in the things that we were doing, keep you abreast of what was going on, even if sometimes it was uncomfortable. If I do that, if I reward your trust by telling you something that I've done, something that might disappoint you guys, and you go back on that and punish overly harshly and lock me away for all time, what am I going to do the next time? I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
And so now that's exactly what they're going to face with Notre Dame and other schools who are going to say, all right, we don't believe that this is something that has overstepped crazy boundaries. We reported it because we believe it's the right thing to do. And what's our reward on the back end? Being punished for something that goes so far over the top that why would we ever put ourselves in that position again? So now you just create a breeding ground for more to go wrong in places where it's more likely to go wrong than here.
And I know one of the comparisons was North Carolina that went through right. And one of the reasons I believe the NCAA didn't jump in on that one because it involved regular students as well with the fake classes and fake curriculum and all that. But right. I mean,
athletes taking irregular courses.
Holy smokes! You look at that situation. But they said, listen, it's not just athletes; it's regular students as well. Where this was student athletes and a part-time athletic trainer, so they felt it was more within their purview to come down and do this. It just And I know people can say, you guys went to Notre Dame. Yeah, we did. But listen, if this was about school X that wasn't Notre Dame, I'd be saying the exact same thing. Because I think it's ridiculous when you're taking care of your own, you're disciplining your own in an honor code that doesn't involve the curriculum or it's not institutionalized here as far as the cheating is concerned. I mean, man, it's a bit overstepping.
Is there a chance, Mike, like you said, so many people are Notre Dame haters, like you said, they don't like what the school stands for and all the rest of it, blah, 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 and Rudy, et cetera. Do you think there's a chance because the NCAA, therefore that's why they're overreaching, they're saying, well, we don't want to be seen as being
Giving a break to them?
Giving a break to Notre Dame. So we're punishing maybe excessively just so nobody criticizes us of being pro Notre Dame. I know that's absurd. Why would that even happen? But is there a chance of that? When you're a big dog, you go, let's pound Notre Dame on this. We don't have to hear any feedback.
I think it's one of those where it's like in sports, coaches tend to punish the guys that they can get away with punishing. Right. They tend to punish the people in situations. You're never going to see someone's, let's put it this way, Malcolm Butler got sat down in the Super Bowl. You're not sitting down Tom Brady if it's a comparable situation. That ain't happening. And so with a lot of those other cases, they're big, they're really complex cases. They involve a lot of moving parts and a lot of impropriety that's really difficult to deal with in the public. Right. Stuff that the NCAA, we talk about all the time, is well out of its jurisdiction in dealing with. This felt a little easier for them. This felt a little bit more compartmentalized in a way that we could look at and they can say and justify as we think is wrong, and we're going to strip wins, and that's going to be the end of it. It felt low stakes enough. The problem is you thought it was a low stakes issue with a place that still carries a fair amount of weight. For whatever you want to say about the state of the football program, wins and losses wise, Father Jenkins and Jack Swarbrick and that group over there still wield a fair amount of power in college football circles, and I can't imagine this is going to be a group that's going to go to bat if the NCAA needs it going forward.
Another thought, speaking of football and people fired up, Charles Haley. This is crazy. The former defensive lineman / linebacker, Pro Football Hall of Famer. He was on the Dennis and Kalishaw show on 103.3 ESPN Dallas and went off on a variety of issues, criticizing the Cowboys from going 13-3 in 2016 to 9-7 this past season. And he said, I blame everybody. It's one team and everybody's together, and that's the key. I go over there and I tell guys, man, Jerry built this house for a bunch of damn losers.
Wow.
And they get mad. They have to do something about it. I can't do anything about it. I can't play. All I can do is give you some knowledge. Crazy that he said, and then the Eagles are so big, they're so busy getting on Twitter and Facebook and everything else, maybe they should get in that playbook. Maybe they should learn how to rush, catch, and block. I mean, nobody's scared of them. Ain't nobody in the league scared of y'all. What y'all been doing is listening to people saying you've got the best offensive line in the business. I said, who's scared of y'all? Huh? Those little things like that, those intangibles, the attitude you take, I go over there and I watch guys work. I watch them go through drills. Charles Haley hammering today's Dallas Cowboys.
That was, a little Goose Gossage like, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. If they put something in the Raisin brand for these guys, it's a bit off the norm, but to come out firing like that, I said this in general with football, but a lot of the problem becomes for the sport as a whole that your harshest critics are within the sport, so it gives everyone else credence to look at and attack.
Right.
The Dallas Cowboys are already a polarizing organization, so now you invite this out there for a team that is coming off a rough year, and the job for Jason Garrett and company continues to get put under that magnifying glass.
You know, and you just wonder, I guess you look around at everything. For us, it would be more like Notre Dame. Could you see yourself? I mean, that's where you play in the national championship game. You're there. Our whole family
redacted.
Between you, redacted. That if you felt the same way Charles Haley felt about the Cowboys, would you be speaking up like this? Would you be going off on that as well? I mean, because that's the team you're associated with the most. And Charles Haley he played for a number of teams. Right. There's no doubt about that. Associated himself when he was a Dallas Cowboy. That's the thing. I mean, would you go off like that?
You know what? I think there are ways to go about it because you can appreciate someone being critical of something they love, and I think we all do that to an extent. I mean, hell, that pops up with like in this building sometime. You have to be able to look at certain things objectively and call them out, but the tone with which you do it also matters. And for someone that cares when I go back on campus how I'm received, I'm always careful to say I don't want to be disrespectful because I understand what these people are going through. And I guess that's the thing that's shocking is Charles Haley understands what these guys are going through. Maybe that's what he feels like gives him the ability to say this, but you think it would also breed a little bit of empathy through the course of this.
Yeah, I guess you only criticize those that you love. Like if you didn't care about the team, you wouldn't be saying anything, but I hear you. You think if you've been through the situation, you'd be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, I think there are ways to do it as well, where you don't want to be that guy that says, oh, you're going to make an excuse for your team all the time. Listen, there's times you can be critical of play, X's and O's. We can break things down that we're critical of, but yeah, there could be a way of how far do you go from a personal attack as opposed to what you're seeing on the field.
I was going to say, criticism and constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Jerry built this house for a bunch of damn losers. May not be the best approach.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030. Mike Golic here. ADT, the number one security company, can now help keep you safe at home and when you're on the go. Get started with the ADT Starter Kit professionally installed for only $49. Plus, you'll get ADT Go, the new family mobile safety app and service with 24/7 emergency response for free with any ADT security system. Go to ADT.com/podcast to learn more today.
Requires 36-month monitoring contract, QSB and Easy Pay. Activation and early termination fees may apply. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com. Additional charge for ADT Go premium services after March 31st, 2018.
That's certainly the Valentine's Day song you think of, isn't it?
Led Zeppelin, crank it up here for Valentine's Day. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. I'm Adnan Virk in for Trey. As always, we're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests in the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Jr. with us for the next 30 minutes as well. Coming up 15 minutes from now, a heavy topic involving millennials, Valentine's Day. It could get a little dicey.
Yeah.
But let's bring in our man, Larry Nance, three-time All-Star, 1984 Slam Dunk champion, joining us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Mr. Nance, congrats on your son's performance last night. 13 points as the Cavaliers put up 120 and defeat Oklahoma City 120-112. What has been your reaction to seeing your son flourish now in his new home?
It's just it's just been a blessing that to have him here. And you want your kids to do well at stuff, and making the NBA was pretty darn good. And making the NBA and getting traded to the team I played for, just I don't know how we just deserved that. Me and his mom is really out of control excitement.
So there are, as I sit here and have my son sitting next to me, Larry, and we both were football players, and as you mentioned, you want your kids to do well. Now he's going to be in the slam dunk contest, and you won a slam dunk contest. Does it kind of end there and you say, hold on, son, you don't need to be better than me just yet in this thing?
Not at all. Not at all. I want him to be better than me. I want him to win the slam dunk contest. I want him to be better than me with the Cavs, because I've had my time, and I have so much fun watching him that I want him to just thrive at everything he does. So I'm looking forward to him winning. Hopefully he does.
Talking to Larry Nance in the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. When your son got traded to the Cavs, he had the chance to potentially unretire your number 22 and wear that, and opted not to. What was the conversation like, or was the one between you guys discussing that?
Well, it really wasn't a conversation, because as soon as he called me and let me know that he got traded here, I called the Cavs and said, he can have the number. Please give him the number. And I think he was calling saying, my dad deserved to keep that up there. And but, I got this summer. I'm going to just let him wear 24, and hopefully this summer I'm going to work on him all summer, because I would be nothing proud if he just had that number on his back, because he's wore it his whole career. And, he had to wear number 7 in L.A., but I would be proud if he wore it. I think he respects me, so we just going to have that conversation a lot this summer, and hopefully I can talk him into it.
We're talking with Larry Nance, Sr., 3-time All-Star, 1984 Slam Dunk Champion. We'll talk about the dunk contest specifically in just a second, but it's just, it's a different vibe around Cleveland now. You know it as well as anybody, Larry. What is it like, do you think, as you being a former player and having your son there, just when a team seems a lot looser, you can feel like, Dave McMenamin, our ESPN reporter, said, you feel like the balloon's been popped now for this Cleveland team. What is that like, you think, for this team?
Well, it's crazy, because the people around here are just talking. It's just a major buzz, and they're playing like it too. I think they all Jordan and Larry, coming from the Lakers, they just they love this team, and having a superstar like LeBron on there that makes everything tick. And just got a bunch of great players that know how to follow suit, really, and they won 2 big games, and it's a lot of fun to watch them. They look like they're having a lot of fun, and that's what basketball is all about. That's when you really do well. So we hope they keep it going.
He comes from the Lakers, which was a young, really everybody was looking at this young up-and-coming team. Maybe you grab a couple of big-time free agents in the summer and see where they go. He goes to a team that is now looking to compete for a championship right now. What is he, in talking to you, what does he say to you about the vibe of the differences of the locker room of a young up-and-coming team to a team that's ready to win right now?
Well, I think, like you said, the Lakers were young up-and-coming, and from night to night, sometimes they would play really well, and sometimes they would just, look like a deer in the headlight look. But, they're a young team, got a bunch of nice people, nice players, and I think they're really going to do well, and they've been doing it lately. And then you come to the Cavs, which is a playoff team, and those 2 guys is I think the type of guys that's going to polish the team to make them just a little bit better. I know Larry will. He's the type of guy that's going to go out there and work and do all the hard work and make a team better. So he's excited to be in a playoff type team, and I just think he's just going to, more and more he learn his role, the better he's going to be, as well as the better the team going to be.
And I think to that end, when you look at now the rest of the season, we get this natural break around the All-Star game, and coming back, what do you see as the ceiling for this team now, knowing the ultimate challenge that lays at the end is the Golden State Warriors?
I don't think they know. I'm like LeBron. I wish they could not go to the All-Star break, because they're really doing well, and it's different stuff every night. So I don't really think they know what the ceiling is, because the 4 guys they brought in is really going to do well, along with what they have is if people go get rest, and they have a lot of different pieces and a lot of options, and I think the sky's the limit, but I don't know what that I just don't know what to tell you with that, because they're they showed really signs in 2 games of really doing really good stuff.
All right, Larry, now you got to give us the real good stuff. You won the inaugural slam dunk contest in 1984. Now your son is competing. What kind of advice have you given him? Can you give us any insight, any clues as to what he might do out there?
I would not do that. He told me 2 dunks, and I'm really excited to see him myself because I anything he tell me, I try to picture, and the 2 he told me I cannot picture doing. So. So I'm really excited to go out there and watch him and see what he do. But I'm proud of him one way or another. I hope he wins because I know he wants to win really bad. And we'll have 2 slam dunk trophies. And I guess I have to take it and give him mine if he wins.
Larry, at what age did your son first beat you in 1-on-1?
He can't beat me now.
Oh, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yes.
Hey, look, you guys not getting me in trouble. You seen that big old boy? He's, 6'9", 235. He's a machine. So, when he went to Wyoming, I would say his second year at Wyoming, he was beginning to get a little too fast for me and everything. So, it's nothing like, I'm sure you know too. Yep. It's nothing like in the world like watching your kids play. And when I could watch them practice, and it's better than any game I ever been in, and it's just such a blessing to be able to do what I'm doing right now with my kids. And I've been very fortunate to have a girl that went to Dayton, played basketball, wore number 22. We have Larry Jr. went to Wyoming, played basketball, wore number 22, and my little one is going to Northwestern, go wear number 22. Wow. So I've just been really blessed with watching great basketball, and it's just, I think you know what I'm saying.
Larry, we saw the great shirt of your son wearing a picture of you. If he wins, will you wear a shirt with a picture of him dunking on it?
I would love to. We just got to get it made, and then we will, and you'll definitely see me with it on because, it's a good honor to go win the slam dunk contest, and I think his chances are as good as anybody.
Like the man said, print the shirts. Larry Nance, 3-time All-Star, cool. 1984 slam dunk champion. Congrats on the success your son is enjoying in Cleveland. Good luck in the dunk contest, and thanks so much for the time.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, guys. You have a great day.
I'm just going to tell you something. That to me was so cool because I thought the same thing. I would sit there and go watch these guys just practice, whether it was football practice, or I was coaching when they were young, but then when they were older, just go sit at practice. I'd go watch the 7-on-7 when Mike was just snapping the ball to the quarterback and they were doing 7-on-7. Just watching their individual drills, whether it's tight end for Jake or O-line for Mike. I'd sit and watch Sydney swim for 2 to 3 hours. Just sit there and watch practice, going back and forth. And Larry's right. I got more enjoyment out of that. I'm sitting there saying this sentimental thing in front of my son here, but I got more enjoyment out of that. Yeah. Larry's right than even when I played of watching your kids do something that they love. So that was very, very cool. I did notice none of my kids decided to wear my number, and every one of Larry's kids decided to wear his number. That's okay.
No, I was going to say,
no worries.
Mike Jr., how eager do you think Larry is that he wants his son to wear his?
If Larry has to climb into the rafters in Cleveland himself and drag that 22 jersey down from those heights, he is going to get that jersey on that way.
That's so great to hear. I just loved it.
That was the biggest takeaway.
It really was. He is going to get his kid to wear 22. I just loved how much he enjoys watching his kid. That was very, very cool.
We're going to have a talk this summer.
If you can get a shirt of your dad, number 90 with the Eagles, you'd walk around town wearing a shirt of your dad.
You wore a shirt.
I had a shirt that had him on it. That was the first thing he looked at me in the break. He goes, "You never had a shirt with me on it." And I said, first off, they weren't going to make a shirt with just you on it. That wasn't going to happen. But second off, I did have a shirt that had Dad and the other members of that Eagles defense on there.
You did.
And I did wear it. So let's see how much it really resonates with you. Thanks.
Cliff, you said you wore one with me on it?
Second day we were here when we were all dressed up in jerseys, I had a shirt with your picture, just a big.
That is true. It was terrifying.
Shirt. It was
that's right. I do remember you having that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like 3-point stance, or it's just like going.
No. It's just his face.
Just my head.
Okay, I repped him more than his son did.
Mike, how about the fact? Obviously, Jake couldn't because Jake was a tight end.
Right.
Did you ever ask for 55 when you went to Notre Dame?
No, I didn't even wear 55 in high school. I waved bye-bye to that a long time ago.
Any particular reason why?
55 isn't really that great of a number. It's too
I've never
symmetrical.
heard somebody break down numbers like you and your brother Jake about how they look on you, and you just don't think 55 is a good number?
Well, listen, I understand that it's just a little too symmetrical, all right? And I mean, palindromes are great and all, but in numbers, it seems lazy.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
That really got out of hand fast.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
You asked.
I'm sentimentally thinking about how much I love what Larry Nance is talking about. My own kids ripping me.
Nah, it's great. Yeah, listen, I gotta lean into the brand on this one.
No, I do agree, though. Like, as a dad watching your kid practice, 9-year-old playing basketball, we're 0-5. It's the best.
You ever getting thrown out of practice yet? Have you gotten thrown out of a practice yet, Adnan?
If we go to 0-6, I might just start throwing chairs here.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself in the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, charades, Chinese checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Adnan Virk in for Trey today. This is Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Keith Olbermann going to join us about 15 minutes from now. Talk baseball, new managers, Aaron Boone, Alex Cora, plus Goose Gossage going off once again. But it's always great to have Mike Golic Jr. in the house with us, first and last, 4 to 6 Eastern, every morning, weekdays. He's also a tremendous Twitter follow and the best tweets he's ever sent. I've asked him to tweet them again. Maybe we can retweet him from Golic and Wingo. M. Golic Jr. 57. There was a photo spread that Brad Pitt did. This was, after the breakup with Angie, and then he addressed the fact he was alcoholism and he was back. Right. So there was like a series of like scenic shots and such that he sent. Mike, can you describe it, what your reaction to those pictures were, and if we can replicate that photo shoot?
Yeah, no, Brad went out into nature to find himself, and it's something that right now, given the time of year, I think we can all do a little bit of searching. And I said I retweeted one of them where Brad is tastefully laid out in the ground, sort of like if you can imagine a marionette and someone's just dropped all the strings, really let go of himself in that moment. And I said, I can't explain what or how, but I definitely learned something about myself through this photo. You could just see it. There is so much soul present in these pictures.
You're a thinker.
There's
no doubt about that.
Deep thinker. And
my son is a thinker, and I hope you think long and hard about this one.
Too much Netflix, not enough chill. That's the headline. Mm-hmm. Why young Americans are having less sex. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. American adults on average are having sex about 9 fewer times per year in the 2010s compared to adults in the late 1990s. So that's a 14% decline in sexual frequency. So that's just adults. Now, 18 to 30-year-olds aren't doing it at all. From 2002 to 2004, 12% reported having no sex in the preceding year. A decade later, from the years 2014 to 2016, that number rose to 18%. And sex is also down among teenagers. 47% in 05, 41% in 2015. So while we're, of course, focusing on Mike Jr., the members of the millennial, born between 1980 and the mid-1990s, and iGen, born since the mid-1990s, generations are more cautious on average than earlier generations, and hence more inclined to focus on the emotional and physical risks of sex rather than its joys.
What do you have to say about that? Your generation's having less sex than my generation. What do you think about that, son?
Listen, I don't get to make those decisions. I'm at the liberty of the other party involved in here. I don't get to make those calls. I can walk in as ready as I want to be. It doesn't make a damn bit of difference.
Whatever. Your millennial group.
Listen, sorry,
less sex than my group.
Sorry, we're not just these crass, sex-hungry monsters. Sorry, I look at the whole person and all.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Maybe we just have better game. What do you think about that?
Let me tell you.
What do you think about that?
Anyone who's hung out with you for longer than 20 minutes can probably tell you that's not the case.
Listen, you know what this is classic case of? Deflecting right now.
Listen,
deflecting.
I like to take a mind and body approach because when we get where we're going.
Here's what I love, the explanations for less sex. It's because we're thinking about that or we're thinking about this. You know what? You just don't have it, man. You guys just don't have it.
That's fine if you want to be a volume shooter, man, and congrats. Yeah. I sit here as a receipt of said action, so I can't really say too much in this area, but...
Well, how about this? I mean, a sexual counter-revolution. That's what Douglas Murray at The Spectator said. The 1960s saw a freeing up of attitudes towards sex, pushing at boundaries. This counterswing is turning sexual freedom into sexual fear. Nearly all sexual opportunities into a legalistic minefield. It's just Yeah, that's terrifying the way you describe it.
Yeah, I don't really like all the explanations.
You lost him with all those big words.
Listen.
He's just like, I thought we were talking about sex.
Listen, I thought we were just talking about the fact the millennials are having less sex than I had when I was his age.
I'm getting more, and they're getting less.
That's all I was concerned about. You keep all your highfalutin words to yourself. Okay?
Legalistic minefield.
Just play the porn bed already. That's what I'm used to around here.
Play the porn bed and let's all laugh.
They say one of the problems is 16 and Pregnant, that MTV show. People are watching that going, hang on a second.
Hey, I tell you, that is real. There is one thing I celebrate. I pop bottles on my 20th birthday for nothing else other than the fact that I beat teen pregnancy.
Oh, my God.
That is a landmark victory in the world of millennials.
Oh, my God.
There you go, Dad. There's your porn bed.
There we go.
Yeah.
Woo! You and your brother and sister were subjected to this in your different locker rooms that you were in, right? When the show was on?
There's nothing like sitting in the training room at Notre Dame trying to ice up a hamstring and having to hear about your parents' sex life in front of everyone.
Woo! Had to ice up my hamstring, too. You know what I'm talking about?
What are you doing for Mike Jr., as we close with you, what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
I'm going to go home. I'm going to enjoy, hopefully, a dinner that I don't have to scrape off the floor.
Chipotle.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm doing for Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Woo!
Bring up the music again.
How's that sound, son?
Please respect my mom.
Okay.
All right. Thanks to Mike Golic Jr. First and last, 4 to 6 weekdays. Coming up, Keith Olbermann on the impasse in baseball, plus Tim Legler on the New Look Cavs in the next hour. Adnan Virk in for Trey Wingo and Golic, ESPN Radio.